Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
One of the things I really wanted to talk about was mom's polio, and she was, as I remember it being told, she was a freshman in high school, I think, when she was
Yes.
stricken with polio. Do you remember
I
much
think
about that?
I think it was just about 2 weeks that she had started her freshman year in high school. And I was in Henderson working. And she woke up and her feet, she couldn't stand. Her feet, was bad. So Rita took Peggy and Mom to Henderson, and Mom thought it had to do with her feet, so she took her to a foot doctor. And anyway, as soon as that doctor saw her, she said, "I can't help her. You must get her to a doctor." So they did, and they put her in St. Mary's Hospital in isolation. Mom and Dad, no one could go in there. I couldn't go in there or nothing. We could just go to the window and look in. And one thing that I don't know how that she was able to stand that, but they would wrap her in blanket, that leg, wrap it in as hot as they could stand it. And the nurses would come in there with that and wrap her. Well, she was in that hospital 2 or 3 weeks. Then they took her to Kosare Children's Hospital in Louisville, Kentucky. And Children's Hospital, I don't know. Well, she would have been about 14, I would think,
About right, yeah.
about that. And I guess that, she was still maybe a child, Well, she didn't want to go. She said, "I am not going." Well, she'd never been away from home, So she said, "I'm not going." And finally, Loretta and I got together, and we told her we would, if she would go, we would get her a new watch. We're bribing her. And she says, "No," and we just kept on till finally she said, "Okay." So she went up there, and you could not stay there. You could not even visit her. One night, the middle of the week, I think it was on a Wednesday night, you could go for an hour. And here, that's up in Louisville, and we were down there in Waverly, Kentucky. On the weekends, you could go. So with being from the large family, we tried to take turns and go. Morris, Thomas, everybody, or they would take Mom and Dad up there, but you could only spend time about an hour. That's a long, hard trip. Well, Rita and I didn't drive, and she didn't have a car. So she had a friend that she was dating. He brought her to Henderson, and we caught the Greyhound bus. We left early Sunday morning, and we went there, and we got in Louisville, Kentucky, and it was time for lunch. There happened to be a big cafeteria within walking distance of that bus station. We went there and ate lunch. We caught a cab and went to the hospital for a 1-hour visit. And I just thought, Peggy, I just saw her, and but she looked good compared to the person next to her. And I think that this is what gave Peggy that strength, that effort that she was going to beat that. It was something else to see that in that hospital. Well, we spent our hour there. We caught the cab, then went back to the bus station, caught the bus, went home. And that was what our whole day it took us to do that.
Yeah.
Because, no interstates then. You had to get the bus went the back ways. That's and right. Everything.
Yeah.
These small towns.
They'd stop at every town.
Stop in every town, and it was such a long day. And then after, I was living in Henderson, but this friend picked Rita up, and she had to go back to Waverly, Right. But she got out, and she got out, and then she had surgery. We all took up money and bought her ticket to fly to Washington to Marion Stan's, and she had surgery on that one leg.
So I didn't. Now she would have surgery in Washington. Is that right?
No, I don't think so. But I don't remember where it was. But she might have had it there.
Okay, but she flew to Washington D.C. to
right
see Marion Stanton.
And
had surgery
I
somewhere.
think she might have had that there.
Mm-hmm.
And to come to think about it, I kind of think they did. Because when she came back, she was with the crutches, both two crutches.
Right.
And she even came to visit me in Henderson. And Dad brought her up, and she met me at the telephone company. And I lived on Powell Street, and it was up on a hill, like a bank. It was a street, but it was still up. And she met me, and you know how when she was walking then, I don't know whether you ever remember her with the two crutches and how she used to, she really, you've seen, I'm sure, people and how that she does her leg when she would walk, this leg would just, it would be, one would be way out, and everything. Yeah. You've seen people that's like that. Well, we walked to my apartment. It was about 3 blocks. We walked through this park, the city park, and all the people in there was staring at her. I'm sure people, all kind of people, are like that. But they kept looking at her. But she did not care at all. She kept on. And we got to my apartment, and like I say, it was up. We had about 10 steps to get up to where we would go into the house. And I said, Peggy, can I help you? And she says, no, I'm doing it. Then we got to the house and went in. Well, my apartment was upstairs, so we had another flight of stairs. She's still that way. And she was so determined, it was unbelievable. But I had to help give her exercises at nighttime. And she would lay on the bed, and I would have to hold her foot. And she would, she would raise her leg up. And then I had to hold her foot, and she would press, come down and press against that. But I really think that when she saw those people in that hospital, that gave her courage, and she fought that like everything. So it really was an amazing thing. And she didn't care. She did not care what people said or looked or anything.
Right.
But I think it took a lot of courage for her to do that. And in the end, she ended up walking without crutches. She always had that one crutch at least in that car.
Right.
But and if it was icy or certain conditions, she would have that crutch there. But she was good.
I remember, or I guess what I remember being told was, she became sick when she was started her freshman year of high school, and she basically missed that entire year of going to school. But she still was able to catch up and keep with her
she
class.
made it up, and she got to graduate with the class as she started out.
That's right.
But it was real funny after they took her out of isolation, and she went home, because I guess that St. Mary's had done all they could do for her, and that's when we wanted her to go to Kosher. And one of the things that they did, the kids came out from school to the farmhouse to see her before she left the next day.
Yeah.
I don't know how many, but her friends in school. And I think that was really good,
So how long was I guess, how long was she in Louisville? Do you remember that? And then also, what was the physical therapy like, and how long did that last for her to get her strength and where she could?
I don't know how long she was up there. I know that Rita and I never did go back up there.
That one time?
Except that one time.
Mm-hmm.
But Maurice and Helen, and they take Mom and Dad up there. But I don't know exactly how long that she did. And she didn't have physical therapy like most people now, like they do now. I mean, this would have been treated so much different, I think.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Any other